Hello students, welcome to the CET NEET JEE classes. In this video, I am going to solve the questions from P block elements related to carbon family, that is also said to be 14th group. As you have already studied theory portion in regular classes, so therefore I will simply move to the MCQs from this concept. So let's begin with first question. Which of the following molecule has highest bond energy? So what does the bond energy means? Bond energy means it is the energy which is required to dissociate bond. So if we consider any molecule, in between the atoms the bond is present. To break that bond we need to supply certain amount of energy. And that energy required to break the bond is said to be bond energy. Now among the given options, which one is having highest bond energy, that you have to determine. In case of fluorine, there will be presence of lone pair of electrons. And in nitrogen also we will find lone pair of electrons, and as in oxygen also we will find lone pair of electrons. But in carbon, lone pair of electrons are absent. So due to this reason, when lone pair of electrons are present in the molecule, there will be kind of repulsive force is present between the atoms. And due to the presence of repulsive force between the lone pair of electrons, the bond formed will be weak. And attractive force is less, repulsive force will be more. Due to that reason, the bond formed will be weaker. In all the cases, in case of nitrogen as well as in oxygen also, since lone pair of electrons are there, thus repulsive force will exist, and due to that the weaker bond will be present. But in case of carbon, due to the absence of lone pair of electrons, no repulsive force will be present, or minimum repulsive force is present. Due to minimum repulsion force, the bond which is formed between carbon atoms is stronger. So thus, if the strong bond is formed, then to break that bond we need more amount of energy. And thus the highest bond energy was exhibited by carbon. So therefore option B is the correct answer. Second one, the metal used for making radiation shield is. Simply if you go through the applications of these elements, you come to know. Here among aluminium, iron, zinc and lead, usually the metal which is used for making radiation shield is lead, that is Pb, because it will absorb the harmful radiations. Due to that nature, the lead will be used for making radiation shield to absorb the harmful radiations. So therefore option D will be the correct one. Then third question, which of the following are not correctly matched? Germanium oxide acidic, lead oxide amphoteric, carbon monoxide neutral, silicon dioxide amphoteric. So among these, which one is not correct? Option A 1 and 4, option B 4, option C second only, and option D third only. So in this case, the germanium, it will act as metalloid, and hence the germanium oxide can be acidic in nature because the non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature. If we take lead oxide, this is amphoteric, that means it will react with both acids and bases, or it will act as both acid and base. And lead oxide is amphoteric in nature. And carbon monoxide, it is a neutral poisonous gas. So this one is also right. pair, this is also right pair, and this one is also correct pair. Now SiO2, silicon dioxide, is amphoteric. Since silicon is non-metal, so non-metallic oxide are usually present in acidic form. That is, they show acidic character. But here they have given amphoteric. So which is the incorrect. So therefore, among these, silicon dioxide, that is fourth, this one is not correct. Therefore, option B would be the right answer. Then fourth question, which of the following is not correct? Option A, germanium hydroxide is amphoteric. Germanium chloride is more stable than germanium chloride. Germanium oxide is weakly acidic. Germanium chloride in HCl forms germanium chloride complex ion. Now here, as we know, germanium, it will lies down the group. So as we move down the group, the inert pair effect increases. Due to the increase in inert pair, what happens is the Ge, it will show the +4 oxidation state, and due to that +4 oxidation state, it will be more stable in this state. And here GeCl4, the formed by Ge, will be the more stable one as compared to GeCl2, because in GeCl2 the oxidation state will be Ge+2, which is less stable when compared to Ge+4. So therefore GeCl2, germanium chloride, is more stable than germanium tetrachloride. This statement is incorrect. So therefore option B is the correct answer. The fifth question, which of the following statements are incorrect for CO2, that is carbon dioxide? First statement, in laboratory, CO2 is prepared by the action of dilute HCl on calcium carbonate. This is the right statement. Carbon dioxide is a poisonous gas. This one is wrong statement, because carbon dioxide is not poisonous. Carbon monoxide is poisonous, but carbon dioxide is not a poisonous gas. Third statement, increase in carbon dioxide content in atmosphere lead to increase in greenhouse effect. So obviously it is said to be global warming, and that is one of the main reason will be the increase in amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So this is the correct statement. Fourth one, carbon dioxide as dry ice is used as a refrigerant for ice cream and frozen food. This is also the correct statement, because carbon dioxide, dry ice means solid form of CO2. Solid form of CO2 is said to be dry ice, which is usually used as coolant or refrigerators for cooling ice cream and frozen food. So therefore, among these statements, this second statement is only the wrong statement or incorrect statement. So see the options. Which option is right here? In option B, they have given only second statement is wrong. So therefore, option B will be the correct answer. Sixth question, a group 14 element is oxidized to form corresponding oxide which is gaseous in nature. When dissolved in water, pH of the water decreases. Further addition of group 2 hydroxide leads to the precipitation. The oxide can be. So let's see the options. Germanium oxide, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, tin oxide. So when we observe these statements, they have given it is oxidized to form corresponding oxide, okay, which is gaseous in nature. When dissolved in water, pH of the water gets decreases. Means when it will react with water, it will act as a acid. And among these, the carbon dioxide, when it will react with water, it will form H2CO3, that is carbonic acid. So thus we can select this one first. Carbon dioxide will react with water to form H2CO3, that we know, carbonic acid. Now, due to the formation of acid, the pH will get decreases. pH will get decreases because it is acidic in nature. And further addition of group 2 hydroxides. Group 2 means if we take calcium, it is a group 2. Hydroxide means CaOH twice, calcium hydroxide. When it is added to this carbonic acid, then it will undergo precipitation and thus leading to the formation of calcium carbonate, and which is a precipitate. Due to the formation of calcium carbonate, the PPT will be formed. So therefore, the option C, carbon dioxide, will be the right answer. And remember here, another way to answer this question is, you should know the physical properties of germanium dioxide, carbon monoxide and tin oxide. Here germanium dioxide and tin dioxide are present in solid form. So simply you can remove these two because they are present in solid form, but they have given the given reagent will be present in gaseous mixture or gaseous in nature. And carbon monoxide, it is not acidic, it is a neutral. So thus the remaining one is carbon dioxide. So we can simply tick the option C, that is carbon dioxide, as the answer. Okay. Next, 7th question. Which one of the following statements about the zeolites is false? Zeolites are nothing but aluminosilicates having 3-dimensional networks. Okay, that you already know. And let's see which statement is false here. Option A, they are used as cation exchangers. So cation exchangers, where they are used? Here in the purification of water, the cation exchangers are used, and there we use zeolites. So therefore this statement is the right one. Then second statement, they have open structure which enables them to take up small molecules. Due to the open structure, they have small pores, and thus the molecules, small molecules, they get held to the open structure of the zeolites. So therefore this statement is also right here. And option C, zeolites are aluminosilicates having 3-dimensional network. This is the definition of zeolites. So this one is also right. So all these statements are right here. So option D, none of the above, is the correct answer. 8th one, silica is soluble in. Silica means it is nothing but SiO2. So this SiO2 is soluble in which of the given solvent? For this you should know the chemical properties of silica. So then you can easily answer this. Silica SiO2, which is usually react with hydrogen fluoride. So when it reacts with hydrogen fluoride, it will form H2SiF6 along with the liberation of water. HF, hydrofluoric acid, it is strongly acidic. So therefore it will react with SiO2 to form H2SiF6. So therefore due to this reaction, it will get dissolved in the HF, and thus option D is the correct answer. 9th one, quartz is a crystalline variety of. Quartz, it is the purest form of silicon dioxide. So therefore option B will be the correct one here. The carborundum, it is a type of covalent solid and it is extremely hard, and the chemical composition of carborundum is silicon carbide. So therefore option D will be the correct answer. 11th one, which among CH4, SiH4, GH4, SNH4 is most volatile? Here you should know, as molecular size increases, the intermolecular forces will also increases. C, Si, Ge and Sn. Among these, the one which is having molecular weight higher than other elements is Sn, and the one which is having lower molecular weight compared to other elements is carbon. So carbon is having lower molecular weight or low molecular mass. When molecular mass is less, then the intermolecular forces are weak, and due to weak intermolecular forces, they are usually present in gaseous form, or upon simply increasing temperature they will get converted into vapor form. So therefore among these, since carbon is having low molecular mass, the bond formed will be weak and thus it is volatile in nature. Volatile means it should be easily evaporable. So it will get vaporizes into gaseous form. So option A, methane, will be the correct one. Okay. 12th one, which of the following halides is most stable? To answer this, first you should know the bond energy between carbon and other halogen atoms. That can be given as CF is greater than CCl greater than CBr greater than Ci. So this is the order of bond energy. So from this, what you can conclude? You can conclude that CF is having greater bond energy. That means in between CF, the strong bond is present. The strong bond represents the compound formed is more stable. Stronger the bond, more stable will be the compound. So among these, here they have given CF4, Cl4, CBr4, CCl4. So among these, the CF4 will be the most stable halide. So therefore option A will be the correct answer. 13th question, the oxide which cannot act as reducing agent is. So here reducing agent means it should reduce the other molecule or other compound, means it should lose the electron, means itself it should undergo oxidation and it will reduce the other reagent. If it wants to lose the electron, it should have more number of electrons to donate the electron to the other compound. Now in case of sulfur, here 6 valence electrons are present, so it can still donate the 2 electrons to other compound. And in nitrogen, up to 5, the maximum valency of nitrogen is 5, so still it can donate the 1 electron. And in carbon dioxide, the maximum valency will be 4, and since it has formed CO2, it can be represented like this. It has already formed 4 bonds with oxygen, so its maximum valency is reached. That means it does not have any electrons to donate to other compound. And in case of ClO2 also, ClO2, in Cl 7 valence electrons are there and it can donate the 7 electrons, but oxygen is reacted with chlorine, so it will donate the 4 electrons to the oxygen. So still 3 electrons are there to donate the electrons to the other compound. So all these will act as reducing agents except carbon dioxide, because carbon, it has the tetravalency and it is satisfied in carbon dioxide. So it has no extra electrons to donate. So therefore option C will be the right one. 14th question. A solid element conducts electricity and forms two chlorides YClN, which is colorless volatile liquid, and YClN-2, which is a colorless solid. To which one of the following groups of the periodic table does Y belong? Sn, that is tin, it will reacts with chlorine to form SnCl4, which is a colorless volatile liquid, and SnCl2, it is a colorless solid, and Sn will act as a good conductor of electricity. So therefore tin will be the answer, that is Y, and here it belongs to which group? 14th group. So therefore option B will be the correct answer. 15th question. An alloy of lead and tin in equal proportion is called. You should know certain type of alloys, and here the mixture of lead and tin is said to be solder. So option C will be the correct answer. Then 16th one. Red lead is. The composition of red lead will be Pb3O4. So therefore option B is the correct one. 17th question. An oxide of lead which is used in lead storage battery in safety matches and is a powerful oxidizing agent is. In lead storage batteries, usually they are used in automobiles. There we use lead dioxide. So therefore PbO2, option B will be the answer. Then 18th question. A pseudo-solid is. A pseudo-solid means false solid. Means it appears as a solid, but it shows the properties of liquid and gas. So thus among these, diamond is a crystal solid, rock salt is also crystal solid, and calcium carbonate is also the crystal solid. Only glass is said to be pseudo solid, or it is also said to be super cooled liquid. So therefore the option B, glass, will be the correct answer. 19th question. Pyrex glass is a mixture of. Simply we know the property of Pyrex glass. So its composition is sodium borosilicate and aluminum borosilicate. It consists of these two components. So therefore option A will be the right one. 20th question. Mark the oxide which is amphoteric in character. So see here, CO2, it is non-metallic oxide, so it is acidic in nature. SiO2, silicon, it is also non-metallic, so non-metallic oxide, so it is also acidic in nature. And tin oxide and calcium oxide. So calcium oxide, it is metallic oxide, so therefore it is basic in nature. And tin oxide, it is the one which will act as both acidic and basic. So therefore it is amphoteric in nature. Therefore option C will be the correct one. 21st. Carbon and silicon have same physical properties, different physical properties, same physical but different chemical properties, different physical and chemical properties. So among these, carbon and silicon both are different elements, so they don't have same physical properties. The physical properties are different, and same physical but different chemical properties, different physical and chemical properties. Since they are different elements, so they will exhibit different physical and chemical properties. So option D is the correct one. 22nd. The percentage of lead in lead pencil is. So all you know the lead pencil. that lead which is present in the pencil, it is actually made up of graphite. Since its color is black and lead is also black in color, so that's why we will call that graphite rod as lead in the pencil. Actually, the percentage of lead in lead pencil will be 0 because no lead is present. The lead which is present in the pencil is graphite rod. So percentage will be 0. So option A is the right answer. 23rd question. The electronic configuration of the 4 different elements is given below. Identify the group 14 element among these. Simply, if you know the general electronic configuration of 14th group, you will get the answer. What is the general electronic configuration of 14th group? NS2, NP2. So simply find which one electronic configuration has this general electronic configuration. 2s1, 3s2, 3s2, 3p2. That is NS2, NP2. So therefore, option C will be the right one. 24th, the catenation tendency of carbon, silicon and germanium is in the order germanium is less than silicon, silicon is less than carbon. The bond energies of Cc, Si and Ge bonds respectively are. So here catenation means ability to self-link the other atoms to form a long chain or linear chain. And here bond energy is high. Bond energy is high means the strong bond should be formed. So if a strong bond should be formed, then bond energy will be high. And among these, the one which is having greater catenation property will have greater bond energy. So they have given order of catenation. Germanium is having least tendency to undergo catenation than silicon, and silicon is having least tendency as compared to carbon. So carbon has more tendency to undergo catenation. So thus it will shows the bond energy is high. And in carbon, the bond energy should be high. That is Cc will be higher value. So among these 348, that is the bond energy of carbon. Okay. And then second one is silicon, which is having greater tendency to form or to undergo catenation than germanium. So its bond energy should be higher than germanium. So which is 180. So silicon, it is having the bond energy 180, and remaining one is germanium, which is having the bond energy 167. So which option is right here? Option D, 348, 180, 167. Then 25th, the structure and hybridization of SiCH3 is. As you all know, to find the hybridization, there will be one formula. By using that formula, we can easily find the hybridization. That is, hybridization is equal to half into V plus M plus C plus A. So here what does V means? V means number of valence electrons. Number of valence electrons in the central atom. Central atom. And M means number of monovalent atoms. Number of monovalent atoms. And C means charge of cation, and A means charge of anion. So remember this formula so that you can easily find the hybridization. If you know the hybridization, then structure you will automatically come to know. That is from VSCPR theory. There you should know all the kinds of hybridization and which type of structure they have. So let us apply this formula to SiCH4, tetramethyl silicon. So here First see, half into V means number of valence electrons. In Si, how many number of valence electrons are there? Since it is surrounded by 4 CH3, so number of valence electrons would be 4. Plus number of monovalent atoms surrounded to silicon. How many atoms or molecules are surrounded to silicon? How many methyl groups are there? 4. So it is plus 4. And is there any cation? No. And is there any anion? No. So cation charge is 0, anion charge is 0. So 1 by 2, 4 plus 4 is 8. So 2 ones are, 2 fours are. So 4. So if you got 4, then the type of hybridization is sp3. If the hybridization is sp3, then the structure would be tetrahedral structure. Okay, so this is how we can find the hybridization. So remember this formula. So which option is right here? Option D, tetrahedral and sp3. 26th question. Silicon is an important constituent of. Usually it is obtained from rocks and thus it is an important constituent of rocks. Option A will be the right answer. 27th. Cassiterite is an ore of tin. Option D. You have to remember the metal as well as element and their ores. If you know that, you can directly answer to such questions. And here cassiterite is an ore of tin. 28th question. The shape of gaseous tin chloride is. The shape of tin chloride can be represented in this manner, and which is the angular. So option C will be the right answer. And the type of hybridization is sp3, because still 2 electrons are present in the tin, because number of valence electrons will be 4. Then 29th question. Which of the following is most electronegative? So as we move down the group, electronegativity decreases. Electronegativity decreases as we move down the group. So here, which one is having most electronegativity? The one which is present at the top of the 14th group will be the most electronegative. So which one will comes in 14th group? Carbon, then silicon. So carbon is having more electronegativity. So therefore option C would be the right answer. Then 30th question. The most stable +2 oxidation state is exhibited by. So which option is right? As you know, as we move down the group, inert pair effect. As we move down the group, inert pair effect increases because of poor shielding of electrons. So here, down the group, which one will comes first? The lead will be present down the group, and therefore option C, lead is having most stable +2 oxidation state. Next question, 31st. Germanium compounds are powerful reducing agents, whereas lead compounds are strong oxidants. It is because. So lead is more electropositive than germanium. Option B, ionization potential of lead is less than that of germanium. Option C, ionic radii of lead +2 and lead +3 are larger than those of G+2 and G+4. Option D, of more pronounced inert pair effect in lead than germanium. So as you know, if we move down the group, inert pair effect increases. So in case of lead, the more inert pair effect will be observed. Due to that, the lead compounds are strong oxidants and germanium compounds are powerful reducing agents. So among these, option D is the correct answer. 32nd, which of the following conceivable structures for CCl4 will have the zero dipole moment? So CCl4, zero dipole moment means it should be tetrahedral structure. So CCl4 will be obtained by substitution reaction. Hydrogen will be removed and chlorine gets substituted. So thus it will get the tetrahedral structure. So then it will have the zero dipole moment. So among these, square planar, it does not possess zero dipole moment. Square pyramid, irregular tetrahedron, none of these. So to possess zero dipole moment, the one structure should have the tetrahedral structure, and here it is not given. So option D, none of these will be the right option. 33rd, PbF4, PbCl4 exist, but PbR4 and PbI4 do not exist because of large size of Br- and I-, strong oxidizing character of Pb4, strong reducing character of Pb4, low electronegativity of Br- and I-. Here, as you know, the compounds of lead will act as strong oxidants. So therefore, due to the strong oxidizing character of Pb4, the PbR4 and PbI4 do not exist, because since they are strong oxidizing character, if PbR4 and PbI4 is formed, immediately they will give Br and iodine molecules. So therefore, option B will be the correct one. 34th, the element that does not form a monoxide is lead, tin, germanium, silicon. As you know, lead oxide, PbO2 is there, okay, and PbO is also present. Tin oxide is also there, germanium oxide is also observed, but silicon oxide is not present. Silicon dioxide is present. So silicon will not form monoxide. So therefore, option D is the correct answer. 35th, the pyrosilicate ion, it is having the formula Si2O7-6. So this is the pyrosilicate ion. So which option is right here? Option D. Next question, 36th. Which of the following lead oxides is present in Sindoor? So lead oxide which is present in Sindoor is Pb3O4. As you know, this Pb3O4, it is said to be red lead because its color is red. So it is used in Sindoor. So therefore, option D, Pb3O4 is the correct answer. Now we will solve some past competition MCQs from this chapter. First one, name the type of structure of silicate in which one oxygen atom of SiO4 is shared. So what they have asked? One oxygen atom of SiO4 is shared. So as we know, this silicate, pyrosilicate structure, that is SiO4, that can be given in this manner. So again, SiO. So this is the structure of pyrosilicate, and therefore the option C will be the right answer. Here you can observe one oxygen atom is shared with Si4 complex. And second one, the basic structural unit of silicates is. So silicates, as you all know, SiO4. Okay, SiO4 minus 4 is the basic structural unit of silicates. So if two SiO4 units are there, then we call it as pyrosilicate. So here the option, which option is right? Option A is the correct one. Third question, identify the incorrect statement. In Si3O9, tetrahedral silicon tetroxide units share 2 oxygen atoms. Trialkyl chlorosilane on hydrolysis gives R3SiOH. SiCl4 undergoes hydrolysis to give H4SiO4, and Si3O9 6- has cyclic structure. So here in first option, as you know, when 2 Si atoms are there, 1 oxygen atom is shared. So here Si3O9 is there, so 2 oxygen atoms are shared. So therefore this is the correct statement. And second one, trialkyl chlorosilane on hydrolysis gives R3SiOH. So here we will not get R3SiOH. Instead of that, we will get R, Si, R, R, O, Si, R, R, R. So here R is alkyl group. So on hydrolysis, it will form a dimer. It is said to be dimer. Means 2 units are formed. That means it does not use R3SiOH. So this is the incorrect statement. So therefore option B is the correct answer. Fourth question, the gas evolved on heating calcium fluoride and silicon dioxide with concentrated H2SO4 on hydrolysis gives a white gelatinous precipitate. The precipitate is. So reaction will be shown like this. When calcium fluoride, it will react with silicon dioxide in presence of H2SO4. It will forms SiF4, that is silicon tetrafluoride, along with H2O and calcium sulfate. Again on hydrolysis, it will give calcium silicon hexafluoride. So therefore here what we will get? Calcium fluorosilicate. CaSiF6 means calcium fluorosilicate. So therefore option D will be the correct ones. So these are some questions from past MCQ. So you may get one question from this chapter. So try to remember the periodic trends as well as processes involved in the manufacturing of these elements.